A girl longs to touch the hands that reach out to her. But if they touched, they'd know. What would happen if they knew? She tries to fly, but her wings are disguised. Can she ever let herself truly soar? Tonight on Armed Girl RPG Princess Wing, the girl afraid of her wings, masked wings. Now, these feelings transform into wings.
All right, so this is a recently translated Japanese RPG system called Princess Wing. Short version is everybody's magical girls with Gundam weapons. So, and here's kind of the premise for what's going on in the game. So, 30 years ago, the world was attacked by mechanical life forms known as the Void. They were impervious to traditional weapons, but it was found that their shielding could be pierced by the use of what's called precious energy, a mysterious energy source most commonly found in girls in their teens and early 20s. Now, academies like Fairy Tail train those with high amounts of precious energy to don armored bodysuits called dress codes to fight against the Void. These brave warriors are known as princesses. So, do you all want to tell me a little about your princess?
uh, sure. You know what? I'm the streamer, so I'll do the honors of starting. So, so I'm so so hi. I'm Reiko. So actually, I'm not going to do the introduction character, but two things to know about Reiko. One, she is the pitcher for the school baseball team, so she's really good at sports. The second thing to know about her is that her fursona is a cheetah. She is a furry. She does have a fursona. I promise this will be relevant later. You'll see.
All right, who's next?
Okay, yeah, I guess I will go. Yes, my character is Hibiki Yukishiro. She was born in a very high-class family, kind of primed up for this sort of role. But she likes to get out and explore the world, much to the dismay of her family.
All right.
And I'm Giant Robots, and I am playing Rin Kazame, or Kazame Rin in the Japanese style. She wants to be a fashion designer. She is a princess, and in her mind, that is a secondary detail about her life, much more focused on the fashion aspect of it.
All right. So, our episode begins with a slice of life scene. So, one of you tell me just what you're doing during the day.
So, Rin is it's during club activity time at Fairy Tale Academy, and she is a proud member of the fashion club, and she's just and currently the fashion club is having what they call, a closet event, which is where they just put together an outfit based off of like what they have lying around. Somebody volunteers to be the model, and she is and they're all throwing things on there. And there's the model is a girl named Caroline, and Rin is just looking at her. Caroline's currently wearing like a very bright blue off-the-shoulder top and black leggings, and she is obviously just like very uncomfortable in it, does not like how it looks, as the other members of the fashion club are like, no, like let's use this. And Rin is like, hold on. Runs over, is like, okay, let me try. And she grabs a few other things, and then she walks up to Caroline and then just like whispers in her ear, hey, I know you're uncomfortable with your shoulders, don't worry. And she's just immediately then loudly announces, I mean, look at this, the chartreuse? No. This, it completely clashes with her style. Pushes her back, and then very quickly, suddenly you see like a flurry of fabric going everywhere, before finally then like the camera pulls back to reveal Caroline standing there in a brown dress with ruffles down the legs and long sleeves. And then she's like, okay. And then she grabs a beret that's kind of a hunter green with a flower on it, puts it on her, grabs a soft green neckerchief that she ties around her as a sort of a kicky little scarf kind of thing, and is like, voila! There. Now you see how this brings out the hazel in her eyes, everyone? It really draws attention to her face. And you can see that Caroline is just feeling so much more comfortable dressed like this, and looks in the mirror and is like, oh, she's like, yeah, exactly. No, sweetie, your eyes are such a great feature. You should do more things to show them off.
Aww.
Wow, that was a lot more elaborate than what I was thinking.
It doesn't have to be elaborate, and you could you could do something related to this, or you could have your own completely separate scene.
Yeah, my own separate scene where she's eating lunch. Of course, you know, she's got a couple friends, but she's mostly by herself there. Just doesn't really want to be in the company of too many people, and she's enjoying her favorite food, steamed bamboo and eggs, you know, something very traditional.
All right, and it's after school the previous day, and so they're playing a baseball game. It's Fairy Tale High versus Fairy Tale Academy versus I don't have a name for it, but basically the local princess high school where people dress up as tokusatsu characters instead because that's what's trendy over there. So of course they have to be rivals because their fashion sense is completely different. But it's the final pitch of the game, and Reiko throws the ball, and it's out. Fairy Tale Academy is the winner. Everyone cheers. Everyone cheers, and then after one of the bystanders goes, "Oh hey, you were great. You should come in that sports mascot outfit of yours." And Reiko's just, I told you, it's not a sports mascot. It's my fursona. They're cool. There's a difference. End scene.
All right. Yeah, that is a thing where technically you don't have to look like a magical girl if you don't want to. It says the outfits are very customizable, and specifically says like tokusatsu stuff is fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, that's kind of why I love the idea of there being like a rival Princess Academy where everyone's fashion sense is just completely different.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
All right, so we're getting a new scene now. One you're not in, because this is trying to emulate the structure of a Sailor Moon episode, basically, so there are some times when it's less other NPCs.
Mm-hmm.
So, a girl with silver pigtails puts her gloves on, then her sunglasses. And as she starts to tie her shoes, an older man enters the room. Oh, Dorothy. Yes, father? The Windsors need someone to look after their boy Arthur tonight. I told them you could handle that. There's a pause. Are you sure that was a good idea? I mean, he's like 10 or something, so you probably won't have to do much. Just make sure he eats his dinner and put on a movie or something, maybe play video games with him. You'll get paid anyway. I know you're considering getting a part-time job, Reese mentioned the other day, so this could be your first one. I suppose that is doable if you think so. Great, don't worry, you'll do fine. You're gonna feel like a real girl. He pats her on the shoulder, then leaves. And after a moment, the girl quietly mutters to herself, "You do not think I am a real girl?" And now we're cutting back to the school. The three of you are hanging out. You can tell me where you're hanging out, if anywhere in particular. Or maybe just coming to school together.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, we're probably just coming into school together. It doesn't seem like we'd have any clubs or anything in
Yeah.
common, so...
Hmm.
Yeah, that seems like a good place.
All right. Yeah,
Yep.
you just happen to be showing up at the same time Dorothy is. She's wearing the school uniform, but she's wearing gloves, and she has a sweatshirt on over it that has the word human written across it. And she wanders over to the three of you and says, "Do any of you know about caring for children?"
Well, like, I've got like a little sister, who I babysit for like once or twice.
What do you do with her?
Oh, just I'll be honest, I just kind of put on the TV for her.
Do you have a little kid you're taking care of? Tell us about them. I'm sure they're cute.
Yes, my father said I am to babysit. He's a boy named Arthur, and he said he thinks he's about 10. I have not met Arthur before.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, most kids, they usually have like, stuff that they're, excited about. I mean, and they can't wait to tell you about it, usually like toys or, a cartoon or a sport or just whatever.
Yeah, just so try to be their friend and try to keep them out of trouble. And I'm sure you'll score a home run.
I've seen quite a few of them, like to collect things, and so maybe he could tell you about his collection of whatever he does.
Ask about his collection. I have recorded this. Made a mental note. I've made a mental note of this. Alright, and as you talk, you're approached by a girl with brown hair and glasses. You know her name is Mitsuki, and she's a first-year student. And she just kind of glances at Dorothy and says to you, the rest of you, "Careful with that one. She could easily get you to think she's your friend when she doesn't really care." "Why do you not think I care?" "You won't do anything with anyone. Like the other day when I asked you to come to the cafe when I invited you, you just didn't." "But Mitsuki, I had to recharge my phone. I had to recharge my phone." "You do know they have outlets for that, right?" "I'm sorry if that was strange. I am foreign." Mitsuki rolls her eyes. "Whatever, I'm not going through this whole song and dance again. Be alone with your weird father for all I care." And Mitsuki just wanders off. And Dorothy just her head's kind of down now. And she just says, "I should go," and walks off.
Hey, no, oh, Dorothy, oh.
You should hang out sometime. I can help you make a fursona. It's cool.
Oh, you're always going on about that, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll say Dorothy doesn't really turn around with that. She's kind of walking off quickly. So now we get to the investigation part. And there's two areas you can investigate. One thing I'm calling the weird girl, and the other is Dorothy's father. So how investigation works is someone says kind of how they want to look into one of these things, and then the players can basically use the tags on called life tags on your character sheet. Each one has a number, and if you have a card with that number, you spend that card to say, "I'm using this to find out information," and then you kind of tell me like how this is helping you. Probably like, "Oh, I know a guy at this place who probably would have known about her father, so I'm going to ask them about it," and then we role play out a scene, basically.
Tag information is on page 108.
There's also just a list of tags on your character sheet. So like, 1 would be an ace, 2 would be 2, 3 would be 3, so
Yep.
on.
Yeah, Jack's 11, Queen's 12, King's 13. So, and basically you want to get 2 successful uses of tags for each of these things to complete your investigation and get what's called a story tag. And that's how the plot moves along.
And what were the 2 things again?
So, one mystery I call the weird girl, just if you want to find out more about Dorothy, and the other is Dorothy's father, because you heard Mitsuki mention that she has like a weird dad. It could be things like, "Oh, I can ask people on the team if they know if they've interact with Dorothy and know what her deal is. Could be like, oh, I'm good at this class. Maybe that teacher might actually know about her father and have met him once or something. It's pretty open.
All right.
Even it could be a part-time job. It's like, oh yeah, I see your father at the part-time job sometimes, and we could work something out from there.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, okay. I guess I'm gonna get started by asking. Right. So Raker's on the like phys/sports committee. So like, I guess so. Like, she probably knows a lot of people who like know a lot of people in baseball clubs. I guess I can ask. Well, first I can ask there if anyone knows anything about her dad, and then like if nobody does, just ask if they know anyone who might know.
Okay, asking around the club, I'm going to say it's actually one of the coaches. It's like, yeah, you're asking about Victor Armitage?
Yeah, is that the guy? Cause yeah, like Dorothy's dad.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. I never heard of him even mentioning kids or relationship, but all of a sudden 2 months ago, it's like, oh yeah, my estranged daughter's coming to live with me. But he always seemed like kind of a weirdo. I'm kind of surprised he got close enough to someone to do that.
I was gonna say, like, Dorothy seems like kind of a weirdo, so maybe that the apple doesn't fall from the tree, but like, you know me, I'm kind of a weirdo too, so, can you tell me anything else about him?
I will say it's the kind of guy who doesn't seem... He's kind of oblivious a lot, like, he won't notice other people's problems. Like, yeah, like this one time I met the guy, it's kind of a friend of a friend situation. I don't know why my friend's friends with that guy, but we were out, like this car just splashed a bunch of mud over one of the ladies there, and he just kept talking to her about this, like, technology stuff, and like just kind of ignored the entire problem until we told him, like, dude, let her go change.
Oh, classic tech bro. Do you, I was gonna say, do you know where he, like what he does for a living?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I'll be honest, my eyes kind of glaze over and it starts rambling about it. You might have to ask someone else about that.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and use the card. Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead and like put the card in the discard pile, whichever one you used. All right, so you're 1 point towards getting your tag and more information.
All right, I'm going to use my part-time job one.
Mm-hmm.
My part-time job is that I hand out flyers for a restaurant, and I'm actually going to say that, like, you know, it's a popular, like, centralized location, so I see Dorothy coming by, and I just, like, run up, and I'm like, oh, hey, how are you doing? I forgot to mention, I love your top. It's super fun. And I kind of like look over my shoulder to see if my boss is watching, and then like, here, take this, and I then pretend to point at it for a second. I'm like, so, hey, look, I'm really sorry about earlier. You know,
you had nothing to do with this. You are fine.
Well, no, like, you know, look. I mean, look, the thing is that we really do care about you, and we just, you know, I know that, like, sometimes, you know, it can be hard to connect with others, and I was just wondering, like, I really wasn't very helpful with, like, babysitting advice. Now, I do just, like, sit my sister down in front of the TV, but also, like, you know, that's kind of her thing. So, Arthur, was the name of the kid you're watching?
Yes, Arthur Windsor.
Okay, yeah, no, like, so you said you haven't met him before, like, you know, like, is he like a friend of the family or something? Like, you know, like, you know, it's a friend of your dad's, or how did that end up happening?
Oh yes, that family is involved in movies, and my father, he does a lot of things, largely with robotics. he was involved in helping special effects for a movie their child was in. Also, at that point, you realize you've heard the kid's name before. He's like a minor child star celebrity.
Oh wait, that Arthur Windsor? Huh. Yeah, no, that's pretty awesome that they're putting trust in you to watch it, to watch him. Usually somebody like that, like the parents are kind of like, really overprotective about stuff.
He shrugs. They seem to trust my father a lot. They even helped him out with his fines a month ago.
Oh. Well, have they ever met you before?
I have met them. Because she's a little hesitant. She seems kind of hesitant to say more about that specific thing.
Okay. So you can tell like that Rin is like kind of struggling because usually somebody has opened up a bit by now, even if it's just like getting them to say something about themselves, and which is kind of like what she's trying to sort of like poke her with. Your top, that's super cute. Where did you get it?
Oh, my father got it at a store and I customized it.
Okay, like any particular store? Wait, actually, did you just say you customized it?
Yes, I put the writing on.
Oh my goodness! No, this is really good work. Like, usually, like, have you done like much like seamstressing before? Because usually, like, somebody like snags the fabric like 8 times, like doing something this complicated.
I did not know this. This is my first time.
This is your first time,
Yeah,
and you did this double stitching?
that seemed to be the appropriate stitch to use. So I did it.
Like that. She's looking at it and is like blown away by like how advanced the stitch work is there. And then she just kind of like looks up and then sees her boss and is like, and be sure to stop in at the cafe.
I'll say Dorothy looks a little, kind of tilts her head confused at that, and then she just says maybe and walks away. All right, and I'll say that's the other thing necessary for the tag about her father. So the two of you who spent cards, go ahead and draw a new card, and let me copy paste the text. And I'll read this to the audience. So all the information you would have found out is Dorothy's father is electrical engineer roboticist named Victor Armitage. He's been caught stealing void wreckage and has been fined for it multiple times. I'll say that after she mentioned the fines, you kind of think about it and heard about some guy getting fined for that recently. No one else has heard about him having a child until he suddenly declared that his estranged daughter from a past relationship was moving in with him a couple months ago. He often gets lost in his interests and tends not to notice other people's personal problems until they're directly pointed out to him. Some have expressed worry about whether he'd make a good father and wonder if some of Dorothy's odd behavior is due to his eccentricities or unintentional neglect. And your acquired tag is Scatterbrain Dad.
There you go.
All right. So, you found out the information I wanted you to find out about the dad, and now it's to find out more about Dorothy. So, who has ideas to just find out more about her? I mean, you're all students at the same school, so it's probably easy to find someone who's interacted with her from a lot of the different things you have.
Well, since I do hang out at the library, I suppose I could ask around to see like what she enjoys reading or studying the most.
So yeah, I'll say you find another student you know there who's seen her. Give me a name for a student. Doesn't have to be Japanese. There's a lot of exchange students there too, if that's easier.
Oh, then we could just do Japanese, like Aoi. It's a bit
Yeah.
more awkward to pronounce.
Yeah,
but
somebody you know named Aoi. He's like, yeah, I've only seen her in a couple times. She's kind of flipped through the book really fast. Until she seemed to notice people looking at her, then she got a lot slower.
Oh, but what does she enjoy reading then?
I think it's mostly been school-related things. Yeah, I don't think it's been fiction. It's been a lot of like bits of nonfiction, some information about Void, a few things like that.
Just all recent things, nothing about history.
Largely recent things. Yeah, actually, I think no. Yeah, there's a couple books about pop culture I saw her reading the other day. I was kind of surprised about that. She doesn't seem to the type. She just seems. Well, I don't know. She just seems like Dorothy. She's kind of a little odd. You ever seen her eat or drink anything?
I don't typically look around at that time, but can't say I have.
Yeah, so I kind of noticed one day, like I'd never seen her at lunch anywhere, and like I'll be honest, I kind of spied on her one day, and she just never went to lunch. All right, I'll say that's 1 point towards getting your other tag here. So, is there anything else you want to investigate? And you can do it again too if you want to use a different tag to investigate further.
Mm.
I guess because yeah, you all know plenty of people at school. You can ask about classes, clubs, sports-related things. Maybe someone at their part-time job. Yeah, I could even do a thing. If there's a place you want to have seen her, I can even say like, yeah, you saw this weird thing happen that you're now thinking about because of all this.
I'll play a hobby one and ask about, you know, amongst like, the other members of like the fashion club and stuff like, have you like has anyone gotten to know her? Like she seems really, really distant from people. Like who does she hang out with? And I'm talking to Caroline from earlier with the hazel eyes.
Sure, Caroline kind of says, yeah, she hangs with some for a little bit, but then she usually stops it for what I've seen. Like, she's friendly enough to me, it just... When a lot of people see this think she's rude, I kind of think she might be afraid. It's like, as soon as they start getting close, like, I don't know, there's something... She's weird about other stuff. Like, I don't know... Like, those sunglasses. I've seen them off her face once, because they fell off. And what she did was she closed her eyes and felt for them. Which is... I helped her get them. I handed them to her. She seemed thankful, but...
Yeah.
That is strange behavior. And she just said, I asked her what happened, she just said, like, oh, I'm sorry if I'm strange, I'm foreign, which is what she tells everyone.
Yeah, I've heard that a couple times. And then to sort of cheat this a little bit, to sort of like montage, of like, then of her of Rin popping out from behind different things as she watches Dorothy, and every time like Dorothy looks at her, like Rin just suddenly is like, and that is why you need to use a warmer shade of blush to like whatever random person happens to be there. yeah no it's do like that specific one in the hall right now of just sort of like that, because it really brings out your cheekbones. And okay, she's not watching, and then just keep like starts like following her again.
Yeah, you see her have some more awkward conversations with people. A couple more times the I'm foreign. Someone asks where she's from, and she just really awkwardly changes the subject, just walks away very fast. And what you overhear is like that person talking to another student there, and she's like, what's that what's the deal with the I'm foreign thing? And the other says, I don't know, but maybe it's weird, but I don't think she is. Like, obviously she's not like ethnically Japanese, but like the only time I've heard her talk about like places she's been to, it's like always like in the city. You've never like, oh, back in Germany or America or whatever. It's always like in Japan. The other one is kind of like this, yeah, you know what, I think you're right. Then they both walk off and keep talking. And I'm going to say that's the second thing you need for the other tag, so let me do another copy paste. So, Dorothy Armitage seems afraid to get close to people, both physically and emotionally. She never has lunch with anyone, and no one has ever seen her eat or drink anything. One time her sunglasses were knocked off, and she felt around for them with her eyes closed rather than look for them normally. While she seems weird, people are pretty sure her claim of being from a foreign country is a lie. The tag is hiding her true self. And the two of you who spent cards for this, each draw a new card. All right, and now we're actually any rules-mandated break. So I will be gone for a minute at least, but the other thing you're supposed to do during the break is you can exchange cards 1-for-1 with each other for the upcoming battle. But I will be away for a few minutes. I'll be back shortly.
So, looking at card exchanges, Dark Witch Claire Habiki. So I have 2 7s, and then you could have 4 of a kind and just like do a really powerful like multi-hit.
Yeah.
And I see you have a 10 and a 5, and like both of those would be useful to me.
Okay, that's unreasonable.
Alright. So. No, wait, I keep the 5. What am I doing? I give you the 7s.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, did I?
Yeah, I drop. Yeah, you gave me the 5, and then I'm sort of just organizing mine.
Let's see. I guess Lenalia, would I be able to exchange that my 4 for Jack?
Okay, yeah, that sounds really good, because that way I'd have a whole bunch of 4s, and you'd have 2 jacks, so you'd be able to do 2 attacks in a turn. And honestly, this, I'm not seeing any other exchanges that would be really useful for me.
I have to deal with 4 of a kind again. All right. Yeah, is everyone else ready?
Give me just a sec to get a drink of water, and then we can go.
Sure. Yeah, this is the first game I've ever seen where it specifically says in the rules, this is where you take your break.
This is where like the eye catch comes up and it goes to commercial.
Yeah, pretty much, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I thought of producing an eye catch for this stream, but because I had an idea of how to do it, but also like I was already putting a ton of effort into the layout and everything, so it wasn't
I was
worth
honestly wondering if we were gonna have an eye catch.
You did a lot of effort for this. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like seriously, like since we're still in commercial, I'm going to like. Folks out there, she worked so hard on this. It is absolutely incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, I honestly, I'm pretty proud of all the stuff I put together for this. Some of it hasn't even been shown off yet, and you'll get to see it, and that'll be great. But yeah, also I was like hyper focusing on this for a good chunk of last week, to the point where giant robots here had to be like, okay, seriously, you need to take a day to not work on this and take a self-care break.
Remember, folks, if you don't schedule time for maintenance, then your body will schedule it for you.
Yep. It's pretty. It's like all the card things. Like I have this awkward card-based virtual tabletop I'm using, and yeah, you probably couldn't even tell by looking at this. Like she actually got like the 3 different, like all the cards are kind of next to each other, and like for the appropriate characters and everything. It looks nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really proud of what I ended up with, honestly.
All right, so how does everyone feel about continuing the game?
Sounds good.
I'm good.
Let's do it.
All right. So this is another cutscene. So a young British boy shows Dorothy his toys. He has a whole collection of Nerf guns that he seems very proud of. She's watching him but keeping a distance. You certainly have a lot of those. Is simulated violence a common interest for children your age? Yeah, all the kids love these. They're great, see? He shoots a couple of darts. The sound they make when they hit her body is more like shooting a wall than a person. She's a little startled, and she backs up, but her arm bumps against an end table, making like this clanking noise, like a hard thing hit something hard. Arthur looks confused for a second, but then something about his face changes, like the innocence fades. He ponders for a moment, then looks at the toy in his hand. Dorothy, could you tell me what it says here? The writing's rather small and I'm having trouble making it out. Dorothy moves closer. I do not see anything. You need to look real close. Dorothy bends over, and as she does so, the boy snatches the sunglasses from her face. Her eyes, with their glowing red irises, show shock and fright. Wow, you must be a void. No, I mean my father studied void technology, but what a freak. I can't believe my parents left me with a monster pretending to be a human. I bet they'll kill you once they find out what you are. Dorothy looks like she's about to cry. But then the boy smiles an evil smile. At least that is what I would have said if I were human. You're lucky to have been found by the Queen Void Merlin. Before Dorothy can react, Merlin sends an ominous energy wave towards Dorothy. Her eyes glow brighter, now entirely consumed by the red glow. And then we cut to Mitsuki walking onto campus with an ice cream cone, chatting with some friends of hers. Suddenly there's an explosion in front of them, knocking them over. What? Red eyes can be seen through the smoke. That's it, my servant, Merlin's voice says from the shadows. Show them how they hurt you. Dorothy aims her gun at Mitsuki. I only wanted to make friends, but I should have known you'd never accept me for what I am. I'm a monster to you, aren't I? So how do the three of you dramatically intervene and come into the scene?
So Reiko just runs right in, gets herself between the two of them and yells, "Dorothy, no!"
Dorothy just looks hesitant to shoot, but Merlin says she would betray you too if she knew. She was always going to. And it looks like, I'll say it actually looks like Dorothy really is preparing to attack. And if you will not get hurt by that, it's time for a dramatic transformation sequence.
Yeah, okay, we're doing this.
Alright. You can describe it if you want, or you can just say that your character says Precious on and transforms. Up to you.
Alright, so Riko reaches into her bag, pulls out a pitcher's mitt, and she yells, "Precious on!" And she begins to transform. The other people will probably transform into magical girls, because that's what they do around here, but Riko's a bit different. That's not really their style. So the transformation sequence wraps up, and it is Reiko's persona! And Reiko says, I am the Fangs of Lightning! Clobber Claws the cheetah, and I'm gonna kick your ass!
So, seeing this happen, Rin shakes her head suddenly and, gets basically back in the game because we're so horrified that Dorothy would attack somebody. That's just not her. And then grabs the key locket around her neck and yells, "Precious on!" At which point then, blazing lights, rainbow colors everywhere, as you hear from, the glowy silhouette, "Heart of passion, sturdy drive. The snowfall and glitter gives rise to the angel of the shining form." As she appears, glitter dripping from her fingernails, completely transformed. "I am the princess of truth and beauty, and in their name, I will drive you back to the abyss."
Hibiki yells, "Precious on!" and with a pink glow, an elegant piece of armor flow onto her. Let's finish this.
Nice. So for setting Precious on and doing your transformation sequences, you can each draw one more card. Alright, and on the virtual tabletop on the chessboard, you can put yourselves wherever you want in the bottom two rows. I'm also supposed to give you stats for these characters, so let me get those and send them to you. Alright, so those are the two sets of stats here. For the Dark Princess, and there's a typo here, she's not a melee type, she's a range type. We're using the values in parentheses, so she's 100 HP, 45 TP. She has one power you're not allowed to know about. Every boss enemy has a dark drive, which you're not supposed to know until I use it. But I will bring your attention to her special function, the Hyper Flame Launcher, which I would say you would know about, just kind of, what kind of suit she has. So, she can basically pick a direction, and anyone in that direction from her takes 15 damage, at the cost of no cards, one-time use.
Wow, okay. Sounds like it'd be a good idea for us to spread out, then.
It's a bit vague on how it wants to do it. How I'm doing it is anyone to the south of her can be hit on her turn. And she's going second. Let me give you the initiative. Alright. So, and for those joining us, how combat works is there's a set initiative. When you build your character, you have a stat for your speed, basically. And there's no rolling, you just get that. And when it's your turn, you get to move, and then you do... Basically, it's kind of like a magic power, like a minor action sort of thing. And then you get to do one action, but if you have more than one of the same kind of card, like a 4 of a kind, or 3 of a kind, or a pair, you get to use... Each suit is tied to a different armament you have. So you spend a card to use that armament. But again, if you have like pair or like 3 of a kind, you can then move on to the next card in that set and attack all in the same turn. And every attack has damage and a value to evade it. If you don't want to get hit by it, you need to spend the number of cards it says. So it's kind of a resource that's both for attack and defense. It also means if you don't hit someone with an attack, you probably did make them at least spend some resources. So it's not completely useless. So those are the very basics of this. And Rid, you're actually first.
Okay. So, first 1, 2, 3. And then I am going to use 3 points to use one of my special techniques. And this basically crosses her arms, lights shoot everywhere. And she's like, Field of Ruler! So, when an ally is selected as the target of an armament attack, that attack changes to me. If there are multiple target hits, I become the only target.
Alright. So what do you do for your action?
And
Anything.
then for my action, I'm going to fire off a Seraphic Feather. Range 2 to 4, evasion cost 2, power 6.
Alright, who are you aiming that at?
Let's aim that at the knight directly in front of me.
Sure, he can't evade. How much damage was it again?
6 damage.
Alright, you do your 6 damage.
All right, and upon use, you can choose a card from the discard pile that has the same number as the card in your hand, and I don't think there were any 5s in there, were there?
Take a look. I don't think so.
No. Okay. Worth a try. All right, that's my turn.
Alright, you're not using the other 5?
No,
You
not
have to,
not
but-
for this. Not for this. No.
Okay, I just want to make sure you're aware of that. So,
Yeah, I thought about it, but I was like, no, wait, bad one to use it. But this is the optimal like movement moment. So
sure.
Wait, I lost track. Did you use any TP there?
yes, used 3 TP.
Okay, just want to make sure I'm keeping track of that.
Alright, so now it is Dorothy's turn, and she's opening with a Hyper Flame Launcher, aimed at everyone for 15 damage, which is now aimed at just you because of the power you used.
Mm-hmm. And now I'm going to use that other 5 as my reactive armor activates. Can reduce the damage if the damage is 15 or less. So all the fire comes rushing towards me as like, a shimmering wall appears as it just like, cascades against it until it fades away.
Alright,
So you end up taking no damage?
No damage.
correct.
Beautiful. So
And she sees what you did and looks kind of angry. Because that was not actually her action, that was just a special thing. So she's going to spend 3 TP first to draw 2 cards. Alright, so first with the diamond. She's going to try to hit you with a grenade bit. 4 damage, 3 to evade, and if it hits, you take a -2 to your movement value for 1 turn.
I'm using my Jack of Spades to use my other reactive armor to block that again. So the shield goes up one more time. So first was the left-hand shield, now this is the right-hand shield.
Alright.
But now you're also seeing like the gauntlets that like were projecting that on my arms. They're both like kind of like, glowing a little bit of like, oh, that does not look like they can do that again.
Yeah, and she spots that and tries shooting you with a blazing cannon. That's 8 damage or 2 to evade.
I'll just take the 8 damage.
Alright, she's attacking one more time because I have 3 of a kind.
oh dear.
You pissed her off by screwing up her big attack.
That would do it.
So,
Yeah.
the double barrel wing, so this is 6 damage or 2 to evade.
You know what? I'm gonna hold on. Down to 26 hit points.
And then she does it again because she can spend any card she wants to try it again.
I am at 20 hit points, which is half my total hit points. So I'm just like, you know, you can see like sparks coming off of the armor.
All right. One thing I should say with like my cards, this is an end of return. With my cards is I start with 12, and played at a table, you wouldn't see what cards I have, but you have an idea of how many cards I have because you can see in my hand. So right now I have 10 cards. And if any point anyone's curious how many cards I have, one of you just ask me. I will tell you honestly how many cards I have left.
Yay.
So that's it for Dorothy's turn. It was a big turn. So, Hibiki.
Alright, I'm gonna open with quick reload. That's 2 TP, and I draw 1 additional card.
Alright. Yeah, and if you're gonna move, technically you do that first. It doesn't matter too much, but I don't know if you're gonna move.
Yeah, I am. Well, let's see, I got 2 movements, so... Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't get diagonals.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do I have to move
Yeah.
both in the same direction?
No, you could turn. You could go one up,
Yeah,
one right.
that's what I'm saying.
I think it's more like for the audience and stuff. It just FYI, no diagonals for either this or range.
Mm.
So
Okay, but no, actually, wait. Yeah, no matter what, I'm gonna be 2 out of range to put in anything. No, not unless I.
yeah, if you want to undo your preparation phase thing, that would let you move again at your movement +1. You just won't get any bonuses for anything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that would work.
Yeah.
Cause...
If that's the case,
wait,
just put the card in the discard pile if you drew one.
wait, no, actually, wait. Never mind. If it's two, never mind. I forgot. Seraphic Wing is 2 to 4. I thought it was just 2 to 3.
Okay, so yeah, you could hit the left guy with that, if that's what you want to do. All right, so spend your card, and what's the damage? What's it to evade?
Okay, so Seraphic Feather, 6 power, 2 evasion.
All right, and it actually cannot evade because only bosses can evade and enemies.
Okay.
So you have done 6 damage to
choose
the
a
left one.
card from the discard pile of the same number as a card in your hand and add it to your hand. Is there any?
I did put a jack in there earlier.
Okay, and I think that's it.
All right, now the Thorn Knights go. All right, one's going to spend a heart to increase all the damage from Dorothy's weapons by 1. Another one's going to do the same. And that one lets me draw a new card, so that will be their turn. And now it's Reiko's turn.
All right, so I'm gonna start by using the special technique Enhanced Armor, which costs 2 TP, and it says during action phase, when you collide with an enemy, you take no damage. That's gonna be relevant in a couple moments.
Yep.
Yep. So my movement's 3. I was gonna say, can I just move up 3 and then do my shenanigans from here?
Yep. You can do your shenanigans right there to the one right above you.
Yep. And then I've got a whole bunch of 4s, so let's see. I'll start by using my 4 of. I'm gonna be honest. I can never remember which one is clubs and which one is spades.
This is the clubs. Your 4 of clubs. What do you do with your 4 of clubs?
So with my 4 of clubs, I'm using Avalanche Knuckle, which is power 6 and 2 to evade.
All right, and to the one right to north of you.
Yes. Do you want me to read off the effect first? Which?
Sure. Read off the. He can't evade because it's a minor enemy. So you can read it anyway for the sake of the audience.
The effect is target that receives damage from this armament has its collision damage increased by 3 for 1 turn.
All right, it's up to 6. What's your next move if you're going to use another 4? And this one has 14 HP left, just FYI.
Yep. So next I'm gonna use Strike Sword, which is power 7, evasion 2.
All right, you'll do 7 damage and bring him down to 7 health.
Also, it says, before selecting targets, you can move 1 square. When moving with this armament effects, you don't take damage from collisions. So guess what? My cheetah fursona is just like pouncing on him and clawing.
All right, so there's 6
Because
damage,
that's also
I
a
believe.
collision.
Yep, that's 6 for the collision, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, he has 1 HP left. How do you want to finish him off? As long as the diamond does something. Actually, is a diamond your movement one?
It is, so I'm gonna hold on to that.
But here's the thing. You could move 1 to collide and kill it. Move up the other 3 to run into Dorothy, if you wanted to.
Oh, hell yeah, let's do that!
Alright, kill that one, and you get 1 collision with Dorothy, right?
Yeah, because
alright,
the
that'll be-
description is just can move 4 squares, so that means
Alright, you
I'm...
get 6 damage to her. You can be right up in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
She does not look happy that you're there. You might notice that she has her weapons, at least by default, do not have a range that can hit you. But I think that's her turn because you're out of.
Yep,
Yeah,
that
you're out of
is
forest.
that is very definitely my turn.
All right. It's now all. It's I think you're the last one. Yep.
Yep.
So everyone gets to draw 2 cards. Up to a maximum of 10. You can't have more than 10 cards if it comes up.
Mm-hmm.
And I draw 6 because I draw 2 for each player. Alright, so I'm all set. We're starting the order over again, so Rin's turn.
So movement 1, 2, 3, and going to first. I'm gonna spend 2 TP to draw another card.
Alright.
To do my quick reload as you see her like punching in stuff on her armor, and it seems to calm down a little bit. Then like the wings part of it kind of goes up a little bit, and there's sort of like a soft glow from them as you hear the white wings kind of hum comfortingly, and everybody gets to draw 1 card except me. I get 2 because
Well, I'm already full, so I don't get to draw anything.
all right.
Yep.
Anybody who has any damage gets 10 hit points as well. So I'm back up to 30. And then gonna use this 10 to fire off the advanced thrusters. So I'm gonna draw 1, 2. Another card, bringing me up to 10, but I'm going to go right back down to 9 because I am going to throw the Seraphic Feather again as you damage 6 as like the feathery beam shoots out and then turns a sharp corner to hit the Thorn Knight on my right.
Alright, so the near one?
Yep.
Okay, so yep, that one's down to 8 HP.
All right, and forgot exactly how that was worded. Was it same number as a card in your hand? Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to take that 10 of diamonds back and
Alright.
leave the other 10 there. All right, and that is a very full turn.
Yes, that is.
Remind me what your TP's at again?
15.
Okay.
Well, her turn is pretty simple. He spends her Joker. Everyone takes 10 damage. You cannot reduce it. Or avoid it.
Oh.
Oh no!
And she says to the furry in front of her, go away.
Dorothy, I wanted to get to know you better. I really did.
You wouldn't want to. And we're going to move on to the next turn.
Mm-hmm.
So that is Hibiki's turn.
Now I'll show you what I could really do. Transform! And I take on one of my variation. Let's see, so now... It said you could do that, yeah, you could do that at any point, just you can only do that once.
Just say you're doing it, make sure it's clear to everyone. You cannot transform back into a form you've already been in, if I recall correctly.
Okay,
for this one, yeah. Some of them you can,
Yes.
but not this one.
Yeah.
On this right Thorn Knight, which I'm pretty sure got some damage from it.
Yeah, it has 14 HP left.
Yeah, I'm gonna use Hyper Laser Cannon, which is 15 power, 3 to 6 range.
Okay, just hitting the guy on the right and taking him out.
What?
Are you aiming for the guy on the right?
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to describe how you utterly annihilate that one.
Okay, yeah, so a bit of resentment in there. She holds out her arms there at a large source of light, gathers together to the cannon, releasing all at once a straight beam. And yeah, well, actually, can I use my other cards for other attacks on the different one, or?
If you have other, what did you just spend, a jack? You
Yeah.
could spend your other jacks if something's in range, or if there's some other thing you get from spending that on that armor.
1, 2, 3. 4. Yeah. So all my other moves, it looks like 2 hit range.
Yeah, it's 5 to hit the other one, 6 to hit Dorothy for range.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna still focus on lots of 4 knights. So the first thing I'm going to do, Gravity Barrel, which just increases evasion. So that's 6 power, 2 evasion. So, and then
He has 6 left, so you take him out.
Okay. And then, yeah, you know what? I'll then go right for Dorothy there with my last attack. The wait, no, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay, I'm just out of range, so yeah, that's gonna be the end there.
All right, and there's no Thorn Knights to go anymore, so Reiko.
I think I'm gonna be spending my 2 queens.
Yeah, the club and the diamond, so...
Yep. Yeah, so the club is Avalanche Knuckle, power 6, evasion 2, and it ups
she is going to
collision
evade that.
damage.
Yeah, she is going to evade that.
Alright, makes sense.
And are you going to use spend TP to make it so you
I
don't take
forgot
collision
to
damage?
mention, I forgot to
Yeah, I
mention that,
figured.
but yeah, I'm absolutely spending 2 TP to use enhanced armor.
All right. Did that attack let you move too? Or that's not the one that you move, so... Yeah, you're
No,
not hit
'cause-
with it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you're still at 3 for collision, but you have a diamond. You collide 4 times.
I am absolutely going to do that. Yes. Yeah, and I don't think she can block collision damage, if that's correct.
Not normally. There might be some power buried in there that's a reaction to that, but she can't. So you have done full unblockable damage.
Yep, I am just pouncing on her and clawing at her at this point. And that's my turn.
All right, so that's the end of the round. Everyone draw 2 cards. And actually, I'll be right back. I'm back. Let me draw my cards.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think I forgot to mention, you can each trade 1 card with each other at the end of a round if you want to. It's worded kind of vaguely in the rules, so I'm ruling that each person can trade with each other person once. So you can do a total of 2 trades.
Okay, do you have anything?
Claire, I've got 2 6s. I will give you whatever you want for them. But like whatever you're willing to toss up, doesn't matter.
I'm like trying to think there would be anything beneficial
Oh
for
well,
you,
just
but,
1 card, 1 6. I'm sorry. but-
do you have anything that could work for me?
Yeah, that's why I was like, I will give you a 6 for whatever card you want to give me, because I don't care what it is for what I'm about to
Yeah, hold on, let's see which one is. Yeah, I think I'm gonna give away the 4 since that's a weaker attack for me.
do. Okay. And you want diamond or heart?
Diamond.
Okay. There you go. Enjoy.
Rin, do you want my 6 for your ace? Because that way I'll have 3 of
sure.
a kind.
Sure. That's fine by me. Here you go. Enjoy your ace.
Excellent.
What else would be a good time to try to get in position to actually use that Joker?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, like I might just use a Joker when my turn comes up, if y'all are in a good spot for it. I think that would
Alright.
make sense now.
So if you're all ready, we're going to start up with Rin.
Okay. So first movement, 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to spend 3 TP, so which brings me down to 12, as I am adjusting my weapons. You see me furiously like typing into something on my arm. At which point then I look up and I say, Dorothy, I'm really sorry. I don't want to do this. Cannon form transformation! And all the stuff that's on my arm folds away, and a giant cannon appears over my right shoulder. And I say, I'm really sorry about this. And I'm going to use the 10 to activate my skirt bit. So the skirt in this outfit suddenly starts glowing, and until the end of this phase, evasion is now gone from an extra 1 to an extra 2.
All right.
And I'm using the other 10 now to charge up and fire the hyper laser cannon as it suddenly starts glowing with a power of 15. It keeps glowing as I discard cards. 20. 25.
I will note that you're aware that I have a bunch of cards left. You would be in real life, so.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah. Well,
It's FYI. I want to be. I pulled up to 15 cards.
Okay.
Oh, dang.
Then.
So if you just want, you can still you mentioned
Yeah.
use up 4 cards if that's what you want to do.
Nah, I'm gonna hold off then on firing all of the head at once. But the 15 does fire as the beam just, arcs to hit for 15 that would, with an evasion cost of
I believe it was 4.
4.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've spent my 4 cards, so I mean that's nearly a third of what I had. So, all right. Is that the end of your turn then?
That's the end of my turn.
All right, Dorothy's up. Let's see what I want to do with her.
Oh,
All right. He's gonna move away. Oh, yes.
On the hyper laser cannon, it says, but increase. It's my emergency evasion. Okay.
Yeah.
So I fired that, and I'm just like kind of hovering there, like having made a big shot.
All right. She's going to use a dark drive, which is darkness bind. Means she can target all enemies within a weapon's range, and that the power of all equipped armaments for this round is +5.
Oh, dear.
All right. So he starts a blazing cannon against the top 2 of you. That's damage 13 or 2 to avoid.
I think I'm gonna spend 2.
All right. This one's against only Reiko because they're only 1 in range.
Okay.
So this is the Hellblast Magnum. So it's 11 damage or 3 to evade, and it makes you spend an extra card for it.
I was gonna say, with that many to evade, I think I'll just take the damage.
All right.
I forgot I had to throw in an extra card to evade for me.
Okay. All right, and that's Dorothy's turn. So Hibiki.
Okay. Let's see. Which one? Do I want to go for the big guns now, or do I want to just...
And I have 8 cards right now, FYI,
Yeah.
and I get 6 at the end of every turn.
Then you know what? Yeah, I'll spend 2 TP for... Well, actually, we don't have any cards left, do we? Or should we...
Sorry, how many TP are you on? I get like when you decided what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm still deciding. Yeah, so... Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to do the smaller stuff from the top of her head, ultimately be a bit of a shine there as pieces of diamonds come in and fly out, so that is 4 power, 3 to 5 range, 2 evasion.
I think she's going to take it.
Okay. And the emergency evasion cost is +1. And then I'm going to use my other check there for the skirt bit there. So now, in addition, skirt slightly flips up in a gust of wind right there, forming a kind of swoop motion as little missiles fly out under it. And that is 5 power and 2 evasion.
I think she'll take that too. He's at 73 HP.
Okay, and that will be all for my turn now.
All right, it's Reiko's turn.
Okay, so question for my fellow players. Do you think now is a good time to use that Joker, or should I hold off for a bit? So I think the Joker lets everyone do, like, one action of their choice, I believe?
Yep, you use one armament of your choice for no cost.
I think we should hold off on that.
All right.
What do you think?
All right, and in that case, I'm going to move right up to Dorothy again.
All right.
Okay, so I'm going to start with Fang Razor, which is power 4, evade 3, increases collision damage by 3 for 1 turn. Oh, wait, I'm also using enhanced armor at the beginning of my turn.
I figured
I forgot to announce it.
Oh.
Yeah, you can probably just
so-
assume that.
Damage 4, evade 3?
Power 4, evade 3, yes.
She's not going to try dodging that.
All right, and collision damage increased by 3. I'm just making sure that's clear. Okay.
Yep. I feel like she wouldn't know as a person, just more sees like a minor attack if she's not. She's saving her energy.
Yeah.
Two
And
more.
yep. Next, I'm gonna use Avalanche Knuckle, which is power 6, 2 to evade. Target that receives damage from this argument has its collision damage increased by, I guess, another 3 for this turn. Is it another 3? Do they stack?
They do, but she's going to avoid this one.
Okay. Okay, so that's still 3 extra damage from collisions. So, still gonna use Plasma Booster and, Pounce and Claw all over her.
4 times.
Of course.
All right, so 24 damage.
Mm-hmm.
You have bloodied her, so she's 45 out of 100.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good turn.
Thank you.
And that's the end of that round, so all of you draw 2 cards. And then discuss amongst yourselves if you want to trade anything.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah, let me put that back.
And then shuffle.
All right, it's shuffled.
Okay. I need another one.
Okay, so I'm thinking my strategy might involve discarding some club. So if anyone has any clubs that they don't need, I can just trade for whatever.
I got a 6 of clubs I'm willing to part with.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm all out of clubs.
Okay, and I'll just give you whatever that isn't a 6 or a 7 or a club. So the
Here,
2
I'll
or
take
the
the 2.
10. Okay.
I'll take the 2. Okay. And Lenalia, would you like a club? Because I would like that 8.
For the 9 of clubs? Sure, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. There you go. So 8.
Yeah, that gives me a bit more versatility in what I can do, so that's good.
I'm back up at 12 cards, FYI.
Okay.
All right, is everyone all set in trades?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
All right, if you're all set, then it's Rin's turn.
Okay. Range 5 to 6. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And then I'm gonna spend another 3, bringing me down to 9 TP
Mhm.
to increase the evasion cost by 1.
All right.
Then fire off skirt bit. The skirt glows to evasion cost 2, power 5.
I don't think she's going to bother evading.
Okay, that increases the evasion cost another 1. At which point, then another 2, damage 4. Evasion cost would be 4 at this point.
Yeah, she is going to take it.
Okay. Evasion cost again goes up another 1, so now it's 3.
All right.
And then the last 2, I fire the gravity barrel with a power 6, evasion cost would be 5 now.
And that looks like it. Yeah, it stays for the whole turn, right? Not just, or is that just the character's action phase?
How did it phrase it? I think it's probably just this
Yeah,
this particular turn.
yeah. Some things
So-
are translated awkwardly.
For Gravity Barrel, it says for 1 turn.
Okay, so until your next turn. So how much damage and evasion was that?
That's 6 with an evasion cost of 5 at this point.
I'm not spending 5 cards, so.
Okay, and that's my turn.
All right, she's at 30 HP, and now it's her turn. She looks kind of afraid, and she backs into the corner. He spends 1 TP on charge shots. All right, she's going to do the Hellblast Magnum on Rin. It's 11 damage or 3 to dodge.
I'm going to take the
It
11
costs
damage,
her.
which brings me down to 9 hit points.
That is correct. Yes.
Takes it dramatically. Dorothy, we don't want to hurt you.
And then she aims at you again with the grenade bit, 4 damage or 3 to dodge, and if you're hit, you take a -2 to your movement value for 1 turn.
Alright. I have to dodge that.
All right, and that's going to be her turn.
Okay.
Yep, Hibiki.
Okay. I'm sorry I had to do this, but time to end this. Okay, so first of all, she now spends 3 TP for weapon control, so that's now +2 to evasion for anything.
Okay, and FYI, I have 9 cards left.
Okay, so yeah, first is gonna be Diamond's bit. So that is 4 power or 2 evasion.
I'm going to say she's going to evade.
Okay, then that's still increase the +1 evasion cost.
How does it phrase?
Says upon used till the end of your action phase, increase target's emergency evasion. So it sounds like it.
Yeah, if it's upon use, then yeah, that would still happen.
Okay, so next is going to be Gravity Barrel. That is 6 power or 2 evasion.
She's going to evade.
Okay, so that's set, what, 5 evasion now?
Yeah, she's got 5 cards left.
So then is Skirt Bit, so that's 5 damage or 2 to evade.
I think she'll take that 5.
Alright. And yes, and that is another +1. So now I'm going to use Hyper Laser Cannon, but also sacrifice club, so that's already 15, 20. Wait, I'm sorry, hold on, I'm trying to look at how it's structured together. Sacrifice clubs here. Discarded card times 5, so that is 15 plus 15 for a total of 30 damage.
30 damage or how much to avoid?
So it's 2, but then we also still have all the other bonuses.
Yeah, how much are the other bonuses total? Because I was thinking it was 5 total.
Yeah.
It's like 3 plus 1s. So if it's 5...
wait. So you already had
Double check.
+1, and then I added 4, and then I added in 3 other +1. Then 1
Okay.
+1 for this
So
other
it's
thing, and then-
so it's 6 total?
yeah.
All right, describe how you take her out. You're not killing her, but you are, like, destroying her armor for now.
Yeah, so, alright. I guess we have to do this. So, lowering her arm cannon there. She hit with a full blast, this time of a slightly different color, as 2 different beams come out, curve there, and surround her in a small explosion of plasma.
All right. Yeah, and you've definitely destroyed her armor. I'll say it's a little bit torn on her sleeve. You can actually see her elbow, and it's definitely like a mechanical elbow. Yeah, she's on the ground. She's like, "You're going to kill me, aren't you? You think I'm a monster." And so this phase, I forget what they call it, but you're trying to connect with her emotionally with either the tags you earned in the story or tags in your character if you think those fit better. And you got to do with at least 2 of them to kind of heal her mind and bring her back to her normal self. And that's for all of you. You're all involved in this conversation now.
So we're just like picking one of the tags and just talking to her about it.
Yeah, just
Also,
talk it out.
I noticed looking at the stream now, I forgot to subtract any of my TP. I mean,
Yeah,
it doesn't
because I
matter,
wasn't.
but-
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't able to keep track of it. Of
Probably
yours.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I play this,
yeah,
goes
I think it
everyone
was
has
at like
TP.
10 or something, but it doesn't matter.
Mm.
That's fine. But yeah, anyway, we're done spending resources, basically. You just use tags to talk to her.
Rin floats down and, disengages the armor, it all folds away and just sort of vanishes into smoke and light. And she runs over and she's like, no, Dorothy, are you okay?
Was I ever okay?
Okay, so at this point, Riko's gonna walk up to her and just put her hands on Dorothy's shoulders, and she's like, okay, listen, I know you're afraid of... You keep hiding yourself, like, who you really are, and I know you're really... And I don't completely understand what your deal is or why you're hiding, but you know what? I'm weird too. Did you, like, in the hallway I was just yelling at you, hey, I could make you a cool fursona, like, that's weird, right? Like, everyone thinks I'm weird for my weird hyper-focus on that, but you know what? They might not understand it, but they accept that, and they accept me, and Dorothy, if you let people know who you truly are, I'm sure they'll come to accept you as well.
I'll definitely give you 1 point for that. There's one more. You need 1 more point to heal her somewhat.
Okay, so using my motivation, I come over and to say, you know, we may have come from very different places, but I know it's not where you came from that matters. It's what you do. I have been brought up very strictly by my parents, just constant expectation of what I do, what I asked for, but I still find time to do the things that I need to freely find myself.
I'll say that'll work. So she kind of looks around and says, "So it'd be okay if I just be a robot?"
I think so. I've
I think
certainly
that's
seen
actually
stranger
pretty awesome.
things.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty awesome.
I haven't had a robot friend before, and I am looking forward to getting to know you for you.
The glow in her eyes recedes. Like, her eyes are still glowing a bit because that's just what her eyes do, but it's no longer like the evil, fully red eyes. She says that. I think I would like that, and I'll end this scene here. And there's now an epilogue. So say it's a few days later. You're all back at school together, and as you're walking in, you see Dorothy, and she's dressed differently. She doesn't have her sunglasses. She's wearing a t-shirt. Her very obviously robotic limbs are just out there, and on the t-shirt across it says robot.
Aww.
And she
That
smiles
looks-
at you. Go ahead.
That looks amazing. Did you do that too?
Yes, I looked up screen printing, and yes, I do think it turned out well.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, Dorothy. Bryn puts her arm around her. Like, you're joining Fashion Club. I'm not giving you a choice in this.
Okay, I've never been in a club before. Okay. I can do that.
Hey, Rin, I know you want her for Fashion Club, but hear me out. I'm sure she would be an amazing catcher. She could calculate exactly where the ball would go, and we need her on our baseball team.
Oh, I've never played baseball.
You should give it a try. I can teach you later.
Okay.
Hey, Dorothy, how about this? You do whatever you want to do.
She smiles at that, and she says, I think I'm still trying to find what that is. But now that I feel like I can be what I want to be, I want to try so many things.
Well, we've got a whole bunch of things to try now. And the first and most important of them is fashion.
You mean baseball?
As you two are having this argument, I'm going to say Mitsuki, the girl from earlier, walks over. Dorothy looks kind of nervous about this, given that, she attacked her a few days ago. Mitsuki says, Dorothy, so, sorry if this is weird, but I asked your father about a few things, and, now that I know some stuff, and, she reaches into her backpack and pulls out this giant power brick. I think this will be compatible with you? Dorothy kind of silently looks surprised at her. And Mitsuki says, and I checked with the staff at Chocolate Cafe, and they said it's okay for it to charge up there, even if it's a big power draw, and me and some of the other girls were going to go over there with some frappuccinos, so I was wondering if you wanted to hang out with us. Dorothy smiles in a way that might have come with tears if she had tear ducts, and she says, I'd love to.
Aww.
Unless anyone else wants to do something in this epilogue, I'm going to end it there.
I'm going to say, what if Mitsuki and Dorothy walk off to the cafe while Rin and Reiko are still just like, look, you have to have fashion, otherwise you don't even have baseball uniforms.
We have baseball uniforms. We have them in all sorts of sizes.
Exactly, because a fashion designer made them.
Yes, and they've already been made. We can put her in an outfit and we'll see how good she is. I mean, like, neither of us are noticing that she just walked off like 10 minutes ago.
TPK just sighs and shakes her head. I'm sure she'll get used to being a real girl eventually.
I think that's a perfect ending there.
I agree.
So what did you all think?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly wasn't at my top of the role playing, but that's, I guess, to be expected of something new.
Yeah, and like, Claire, like, from my understanding, you haven't done a lot of tabletop role-playing to begin with, so I think considering that, you
No.
did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did fine.
Yeah, you really did.
Yeah, no, you figured out a character, you went with it. I could tell it was some like shyness, because it's very much a new player kind of shyness, but you were fine every time you actually role-played here, so...
I'm gonna be honest, this is a pretty fun system. Like, it knows exactly what it is doing, and it fits the mood of like a Sailor Moon type show perfectly. Down to like,
Yeah.
here is the exact formula of the episode, here's the next episode preview, which is what I read off at the beginning of this stream, and here's where the commercial break is.
Yes, although I guess since this is the localized version, should we maybe add a PSA at the end?
I'm considering jokingly suggesting that. If someone does want to just do a PSA real fast, like, hey kids, don't drink bleach or whatever, just go ahead.
I mean, I think they tried to make it like tangentially related, like, you
Yeah.
know,
Hey,
beauty is on the inside or whatever, or kids can be a lot to deal with or something else.
But sometimes they were really off. Like,
Yeah.
so, like, you know what? I got one for this. You know, in today's episode, Mitsuki tried to get Dorothy to take food for her body, but that wasn't what was right for her. Remember, kids, always only take medications that are prescribed for you. Don't take someone else's prescriptions. And that's what Princess Wing says.
But that feels really, really accurate.
Oh.
So there's one last thing. I can award you experience points.
Yay!
Yeah, we have to go over how experience
Yeah,
points
we should talk. We
are
should actually
rewarded.
talk about that because at least one of them is pretty fun.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll go over these briefly. So, you get 1 point if you participated until the end of the session. So, that's all of you.
Mm-hmm.
Another point if you achieved the scenario clear conditions. You did successfully save Dorothy there.
Yep.
1 point for good role play. I feel like you all did it. You all had clear characters. You had ideas of what you wanted to do with them. You role played them out. And there's another point for if you help out other players, by help with their performance, collaborate and role play, or discuss which cards to exchange. You all easily hit the bare minimum for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you aided in the progress of the session. Yeah, you actually got that just for role playing again if you want, or if you honestly remarked that it was fun or interesting. So I would say you all did that one too. And the final one is you get a point if you share your impressions on the internet. An interesting marketing tactic is post online about the game and you get experience.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
that is like a good way to virally market their RPG. I've gotta say.
Yeah, and as the GM, I'm going to declare that streaming a game for people counts. So I'm going to give you all the points. So you all get 6 experience points, I think it was. Yeah.
Okay.
And there is stuff you can upgrade on it. It's on page 115 of the book if you actually do want to enhance your character for possible future sessions. This is the kind of game where like you can easily rotating GMs if it just feels like it's like, hey, I feel like running it. Bring your characters.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it has a funny name, I'll point out that one of the upgrades you can pick is called ray tracing.
Yeah, I saw that.
Beep boop. It's like, hey, normally I'm the robot here, but somebody else got to be the robot today.
Yeah, really. We got the robot who's the furry, and someone else is the robot.
Yeah, that was my first. Yeah, that's my first time running an original session for this. So there are 2 pre-written things in the book which I ran before. So, but I think it went well.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
All right, so at this point, I'm just gonna cut over to my end card. Those of you on the voice chat, you should still be audible on this stream, by the way. But I'm gonna say, thank you so much to Nocturne, Duskclaw, Proxy Glitch Cat, and Purple Mage Claire for sharing your viewers with us today. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I had a lot of fun putting this together. At some point, not sure what, I'd like to start doing more tabletop stuff on here, so I'll probably pivot over to that at some point. You can find me up on Mastodon as at Lenalia at VT as in VTuber.social or on co-host as Lenalia. Any of you have anything you want to plug while I'm I look for a raid target? Oh yes, please check out my girlfriend Dark Witch Claire. She does retro game streams that are a little bit off the beaten path, and I really recommend checking her out. So I'm gonna give you a shout out here.
And I'll say, if any of you watching this want to actually read the book, you can message me on Discord, or if you look at co-host, look at the Princess Wing tag. I think I'm the only person to have ever used it, so you should be able to find the translation there.
And I'm just going to reiterate, all these people, Fel, Lenalia, Dark Witch Claire, all of them are awesome. You should definitely check out all of their stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And you know what? There is actually somebody I'm following on Twitch who is doing another tabletop stream today. I'm gonna send you all over to Iscalia, who's doing a D&D campaign. So I'm gonna send you all over there. Have fun, and please do take care of yourselves.
Thanks for joining me in this goofy little game.